I want to show you something. I recently rebuilt this motor. This is a 1986 Honda TRX 70. I wanted to freshen it up because it would occasionally smoke when my grandson was using it. It was all original, never been torn apart, that I was going to put a new cylinder, new piston, piston rings, and valve seals in it. I ordered a kit online, put it all together, started it up, the motor started knocking. However, it wasn't smoking. Tore it all back apart. After doing that a few times and double checking my work, make sure I didn't do anything wrong, then I decided, well, I will measure the piston to cylinder wall clearance. I did, and it was excessive. I sent the kit back to the company. They rebored the cylinder and sent me back a new piston, 25 thousandths over. I put it all back together. Didn't knock anymore, but this time it was smoking like crazy. I tore that back apart several more times, tried different piston, tried putting it back to the stock configuration with a new piston and new piston rings. I ordered OEM Honda valve seals, changed those out several times. It just continued to smoke. I think in hindsight, what might have happened is that the piston may have contacted the valves because the piston that was in it was a flat top. The piston they sent me was a domed piston, and I think it might have hit one of the valves, slightly maybe bent it. That's the only thing I can think of, and that caused it to just continuously smoke. I decided to tear this thing completely back apart and buy a brand new kit. Everything complete, including the head. Piston, cylinder, piston rings, wrist pin, and the head. All is one unit. Put it all together. It started up first pull. If you want to check out that video, I'll have a link up above and I'll put one down below, but it was just super frustrating, guys. I was like pulling my hair out. I was ready to actually take this motor out and put a brand new one in it just because I couldn't figure out, why is something so simple being so difficult for me? Everything is fixed 100%. Then I was laying in bed one night and I thought to myself, geez, I hope I orientated the piston in the correct way. Piston has a mark on it. One says intake and it's supposed to be facing up. This is the cylinder and piston out of my wife's XR100 that I just freshened up. And if you can see, this piston has a mark on it. It says intake and exhaust. So the intake mark has to face up, the exhaust faces down. I couldn't remember how I had this orientated on this quad. So I pulled out the spark plug and said, I will just bring the piston up to top dead center, shine a light down inside that cylinder, and I should be able to see where it says intake on the top. That was a no-go. I couldn't see it. Couldn't see anything. Now I was faced with the consequences of, do I really want to take this all apart again? That means a whole nother gasket kit. I'd already bought probably about 4 gasket kits, spent probably at least $100 in gaskets. It was getting super expensive. I had already bought one whole rebuild kit that I'm not even using now with the cylinder and the piston because I just didn't trust it and it seemed to be making it smoke. I said no, I'm not going to, and I looked for alternatives. Check this out. I picked up this tool online. It's called a Borescope. This is a digital LCD display. This is a camera, and it has some LEDs in it, and it shoots in 1080p. You can take pictures, and you can record video with the SD card on board. But that's not what's the coolest part. Pull this cap off. Now you can see my workshop. You can see there's the lights in the end of it, and right here I can turn those lights off or dim them. The idea is you take this tool and snake it through the spark plug hole. But let's say you want to take a look up at your valves or look around. You turn the dial on this handle and look what it does. It can rotate around a full 180 degrees in both directions. So you can literally look back through the same hole that you came from. So this was my solution, guys, on seeing where those markings were on that piston. And just for full disclosure, guys, I bought this with my own money. This isn't anything that's sponsored, or I'm not even trying to sell you this. I will leave you a link if you're interested in buying it, but this is all on me. Now watch this. We'll start fishing it through the piston hole, through the, there's the piston. And there we are. Check that out. You see those words IN right there? They appear to be at the top. That's where they should be. But sometimes when you're looking at an image, they can get reversed. So I'll show you how I figured out that that was exactly on the top side. I took a can of penetrant oil, gave it a couple squirts down in the cylinder, stuck my tool back in to the cylinder. There's the liquid. You see the liquid down there at the bottom? Then we go to the top. And you can see that's dry up there. So that tells me that that's up and the liquid being at the bottom is the exhaust side. So I know that I've orientated that piston in the motor correctly. Like I said, this wasn't a whole lot of money, but it sure saved me a whole lot of time and some more money from having to tear this motor down. And when you're done, just hold the power button down for 2 seconds, put the little protective cap on it that comes with it, and it comes in a nice little padded box that you can store it in. Now, a couple other creative uses that I could see for that tool would be, let's say your bike is smoking, or you think you've got some issues in your cylinder. You could pull the plug out, probe around inside your cylinder, and take a look. And because that turns back 180 degrees on itself, you could actually be looking at the valves, the top side of the motor, from where you're actually going in. And I'm sure there's all kinds of other uses that we could use that for that would be handy. But boy, I'll tell you what, that was an awesome tool, and I'm super glad I have it. So if we wanted to, we could take a look inside the gearbox. So there you can see some gears. We can rotate it. You can actually see the gear sitting in the oil. This would be good if you ever had, like, you know, you trying to think maybe you had some broken gears or whatever, or you were looking for shavings or something broken off. You can use the knob to kind of rotate around so you can get to different places within the crankcase. But you get the idea. That maybe looks like the clutch hub that I was seeing. Maybe like right there, if you're wondering if, you know, something was tight, or you tightened something up or assembled it right. Then when you're done with it, it just charges up with a USB-C cable. It's that simple. I figured I would show you that tool because it's something that helped me out tremendously, and hopefully it might be able to help you out at some point as well. If this is something that you like, please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Until the next one, guys, I will see you soon. Take care.